What's happening, guys? Dan here, DD's Beach Shop. We're back on this 55 Chevrolet. We're making lots of progress, but we have a few kind of last minute things which I haven't quite finished, and I have to get those all taken care of because it's test drive season. I want to drive this thing. I picked up this little U-bend. So this is what we're going to use for some sort of a tailpipe. Oh, look at that, actually. So I'm probably gonna just kind of slash cut this, wherever you leave a little center bit, and kind of make that. Then we got to attach it because there's nothing holding the exhaust. So I've done lots of these side exit exhausts on these Tri-5s, and I'll just weld something to the brand new brace we used, or the hanger, or something like that. We'll get that taken care of, and that's plenty strong. I'm coming to realizations right now, so I'm gonna do an exhaust for my first time ever standing on my feet. What a weird concept. But now that we have this lift, arguably we could do chassis exhaust. Now I would say typically, like under chassis exhaust is probably a lot easier to kind of do and screw around with. Especially in this state, we actually have to screw around with this. But when you're working on jack stands, it's so much nicer just to do something on the outside. That being said, I do love fender well headers and I love side exit exhaust. So we'll get that taken care of. We have to kind of nut and bolt check everything. I didn't build this car, and it's definitely a lot more together than I'm used to. So just double check everything, make sure it's all good. The motor mounts are just sitting in there. I gotta make sure those are all tight. Kind of some one-offs. I'll kind of carry from there. We also actually should put a coat of paint maybe on the front apron, like the splash pan and all that. We should probably tighten up all this stuff. I think it's all stuff I'm talking about. We gotta just go through everything because it'll rattle loose and fall apart. And then we got to go through the brakes front to back. And then I think we should be good enough to at least kind of take it around the block. I would like to have the grill and everything together. We do have to have a hood latch on it. We do have to mount the radiator.
Are you going to fix the coolant leak?
We have to fix the coolant leak. Wow. I kind of thought we were driving it today. Dreams dissolving in front of my eyeballs. Anyways, let's get the exhaust on because I really love exhaust. And it'll look cool and it'll look racy. This thing, at a glance, I mean, it has the door post forever, but honestly, it just kind of looks sporty for what it is, which I enjoy. So I'm gonna get some batteries. We'll get the welder pulled out. We'll start cutting this out. It's gonna be very simple. Like I said, super, super simple. My welds are top notch as per usual. And I think I'm just gonna kind of clamp it all. The tailpipe will be a clamp in thing, so I'm really gonna be welding. The only welding I'm gonna do is just wherever I decide to mount the hanger. So it should be a quick one. So I think what I'm gonna do, so I kind of have something along those lines. It's probably gonna be the plan. So I'm gonna kind of slash cut that. I'm not gonna use the saw. I'm just gonna go ahead and grind it because it's almost irrelevant. I'm gonna try and get it in as much as I can. I'd like to just put a clamp on it, but I may end up, honestly, I could weld it. I can get to the whole thing, so maybe I'll just weld it in there. And I don't have any gloves. What kind of safety operation is this, Danielle? Where are my gloves? I keep losing things, but now I'm losing them at higher altitudes than usual. So, we'll get this zipped off. The mufflers look like they're almost in the same spot side to side, so I'm sure they look good. And really, I'm so tempted just to cut on the lift. Maybe I'll just cut on this thing. On my other workbench. Meant to do that. Break the disc? No. So something like that. Looks pretty good. So if we do that, then I got these, which I can probably just mount somewhere. I think that'll probably end up cutting a bunch of this up. A lot of times I'll just weld the whatever the sides to it. Be done with it. So let's just go ahead and, if we have this in place, I do want to have it tucked up a little bit. So we like probably something about like that. So let's just go ahead and give this a quick tack before this. Oh yeah, forgot about that. Last time I used the welder, I jammed it up. Okay. And this aluminized pipe doesn't weld very good. Yeah, it'll be good if I hang it something like there, eh? We have the gas on? Should appear to be on. Sure seems like it's welding like crap. Well, she's good. Okay. What's it set to? Oh. Might be the pro. Oh, where's my hat? I'm not wearing a hat. Well, with the gray hairs out.
I like your gray hairs.
The grays it stays, right?
Was that what?
I hope so. People keep telling me I'm gonna lose it all. Here I am, still got her.
People say a lot of things.
People on the internet are always right though, remember? You know more than I do.
Oh, that was a nice weld.
That one's kind of junky. The top one was okay. Now we're gonna be welding upside down. This will never work out.
Ah! Why didn't you warn me?
Oh, I was doing this.
Yeah, my eyes were open.
Both of them?
Yes.
Well, what are you doing with both eyes open at once?
Oh, I didn't think you were welding in that precise moment.
Okay, welding. Everybody close your eyes. Wow, building an exhaust on the car versus tacking and having to take it out. What a concept. Oh, that doesn't sound good. Yowza. Wow. That's sweet, man. That actually turned out okay. Okay, welding. Welding, Danielle. Welding, internet. Man. Shoot some rough-ends there, but that'll work. I guess I could have done any amount of prep work, but it is just exhaust. Okay, so that looks good there. This hanger, let's just go ahead and blitz this into pieces because we're not going to use it. Sorry, Brad. Really, if I do something like that, it'll probably be okay. Where do I want this? There. Actually, you know, what would be handy is my my tiny floor jack. Is that in here? Or is that in the truck? Or is it just sitting outside in the field? I think it's a combination of the two. I think the jack was out here, but oh no, it's right there. But the little rod is not. I wonder if it would be too tall. Because this can literally just hit it in position.
I could just hold it.
It's got a fair bit of screw around factor. We're gonna need a block of wood. There's only blocks of wood.
Behind the car.
I thought I was keeping them over there. What happened to that, Danielle? Organization, that's your department.
No, it's not. You didn't like how I organized it.
Because it was wrong. If it was right, I wouldn't mind it. So. So that's the height. Now if we just got a ratchet strap, we can pull it over and it'll be like exactly where we want it. And all we gotta do is weld her in. Man.
You have used more ratchet straps in the last 2 months than I've ever seen you use in our entire 10 years of dating.
So either I'm getting better or I'm buying worse things.
Yes.
It is one of the other. So I just want the muffler to be inside of the, it's not bad. Yeah, that's probably about right. You put your hand everything around, nothing's gonna touch. Get around the body mount. This one's tight. There you go, that's all we're gonna do. So now, if I can just put that, so we may have to bend this. Maybe not too much. What side can I get to? That's gonna be a little tight in there. I almost wonder if I should just cut this all right off. This top bit. I think I'm gonna do that. Oh, it's caught in my luscious locks. Ready? Grinding. Help me out at all, or did I just accomplish nothing? Okay, I think it's okay. Unfortunately, now I've painted everything. Hang on. Gotta get a ground on this somehow. So this might be all in my way. Hang on, do it over here. Hopefully it's got enough to it doesn't. We'll fix it with the vice grip. Man, I'm just putting on the steps on this thing. Okay. That.
So if you don't have a good ground, you can just use a vice grip?
Sort of. I'm just using the vice grip to act as an extension of the ground.
I see.
So I think I want that about there. It's gonna be a little snug there. May have to do it from the back side.
My perfect camera angle.
Well, it's kind of junky there. I'm gonna have to put a twist in this, unfortunately. Okay, we'll just give it a little tack. Oh wow, that was a bad weld. Some bad roaches. Alright, what's going on with this welder? Okay. Crank this up, I guess. If you're no happy, you have to bunch this one side in. Let's see if I can put a twist on this. A little fire, it's fine. Okay. So now, go out. Where's my... give her a twist.
Oh.
I might just be bending on the rubber.
The rubber was bending.
Yeah, I need two of these then. I need to bend the metal. Well, you just clamp it on there and see if it happens. And probably just clamp it on and give it a tack weld. What is this? She won't go nowhere. Not happy. She's not happy. Started. Worst case, I gotta heat that up with a torch or something. Give her a little cranky turn, which I think is gonna be needed. Mind you, what if this can just bend and it'll fold itself? Struggling. Need another there.
As soon as I turn the camera off, he gets it on.
I'm starting to get a little frustrated. Side exit, hot rod exhaust. It sure does look cool, but sometimes.
Oh, our light's dying. It's blinking.
There you go.
And then do you tack that on or no?
We could, but I think it'll probably be fine. I'll have to go and weld up the inside here, which is going to be a little tricky. But that should be holding me now. It ain't going nowhere. And realistically, even if this does break, having your car lots, it just
Yeah.
as long as you can still make it home. So it's
I
fine.
welded that on my car.
Yeah, you sure did. Okay, well, there you go. Let's get a new light so I can see in here. And then we should take off this, make sure it's not gonna, oh yeah. There's no tension on it, so there you go. Perfect exhaust. This looks a little goopy hanging down, but it is what it is. I've done it up here before and stuff, but I find that further back, it gives it more of a, more sturdy. And this thing, since we're gonna be driving it all the time, I want that. Yeah, I'll probably also twist the clamp inward. Or we just weld the thing all together and lose the clamp right together. It's welded right to the car, it won't come off. How often am I gonna take the exhaust off is what you're asking. Just weld it. I'm a big fan of that. I need a hat. My hair's driving me crazy, my gorgeous hair. Hat lady. Dan here, TD Speed Shop.
This is the same video.
I didn't get a line. Oh, this is weird. The brake line goes from quarter to 3/16.
This one's dying too. Did you not plug any of these lights in last night?
No, that's your department. Okay, so I gotta take it up. So exhaust is done. I got this side taken care of. Danny, if you can see this side or not. This one had a bit of a whoop-de-doo, just the way the header kind of was.
Oh, pass me that light. Thanks.
But it all worked. The light's not on.
I know I don't need it on.
Oh,
I just
so-
want to remember to charge it.
we got that. That one I think has charge. So that's good. Man, the diff really has a pretty gnarly pinion angle downwards. It's not really ideal, I don't think. Just to eyeball, but we'll see what happens. You can always fix that later. So now we gotta kind of just nut and bolt everything, nut and bolt check it, and then we have the e-brake stuff. So that should be cool. The other stuff to get the brakes done. Well, I gotta grind these off. We put the shocks in actually. I can nip these off while it's up in the air. But let's, the front here, I wanted to double check. I keep forgetting to do motor mounts in this rad cradle, so I wanna get that done. Okay, rad cradle secured.
Oh, that was fast.
I don't mess around.
Didn't even have time to get the other light going.
Probably changed the oil filter. Somebody really smashed that, putting her in.
Is that you? Did you smash
It
it?
might have been me. It might have been.
Well, speaking of hack jobs.
We're gonna talk about Morski?
Hasn't that poor guy been through enough?
No, he didn't even get arrested.
You know what the best part about this
Yes.
is? By the time this video comes out, it will kind of have blown over.
Oh, yeah.
And then now everyone's gonna go back and start making fun of him for being a new felon again.
I would love that.
So there are some comments that I found that I thought we could talk. We haven't done comments in a long time.
I love comments. They're almost my favorite thing. Everybody just has their thoughts.
Well, what you're doing right now is pretty boring, so...
Oh, yeah, sorry about that. I'm not gonna lie to you, building cars is boring. Everybody thinks it's fun until you're like, this is awful.
Well, and actually, there have been comments about, like...
How boring I am?
No, not how boring you are.
How boring you are?
No, nobody... Did people think I'm boring?
I don't know, find out in the
If
comments.
anything, is boring and annoying the same thing?
Man, this front brake line's mint. I'm not touching it. This is from the kit. Oh, the whole thing is from the kit. That's what this is.
What kit?
I bought the same eBay kit that came. This is pre-bent brake lines. So the front we're not going to mess with at all. We just got to move that portioning valve. Oh, next video just got easier. Wah, wah, wah.
Anyways.
Anyway, yeah.
So people ask, they go back and forth between you don't do enough work and you're doing like, oh, this is boring and blah, blah, blah.
That's right. It's like an election. It's 50-50. Someone's always wrong.
But we had talked about those comments and you were explaining about, well, then what would a YouTube channel be if there was no content?
It would be all of the people commenting. There would be no YouTube channel. They'd just all be experts in their own garage. That's the key. They'd all be expert-mers.
Well, and the fact of the matter is that this is like, I don't want to say it's a show because it's not like a television production show, but it is a show. And a show has to have episodes.
Not every episode of Friends was good.
That's so funny. I was going to make the comparison to Friends too.
We're on a break. Well, I mean, you know, working on hot rods kind of is what it is. And that's, if you want to see a whole car built in 44 minutes, I mean, go watch Overhauling. I mean, there's no, I'm not forcing anybody to be here. But if you actually want to see what you're going to be getting into yourself and actually working with real life budgets, then that's YouTube. I mean, that's always, I mean, you know, I watch Roadkill and all that stuff a little bit less than I maybe used to at one point. But, you know, that's, if you want to see something beginning, middle, and end, it takes many thousands or tens of thousands of dollars. I mean, like when I watch a Vice Grip episode, I think to myself, good God, that guy is flying somewhere, so that alone is a day and money, hotel, food, all that stuff, probably buying tools because he's not in his own garage, probably has to buy jack stands and floor jacks and all that sort of junk, buy the car, fix the car, which you don't have Rock Auto, you don't have any of those things, you're paying top retail at all the shops, I'm sure he has some sort of account, and then you slap it all together, not professionally, or not professionally, not finished, I don't want to say it without sounding like an a-hole, temporarily, to get it home, fuel, all that stuff. There you go, get it all done. So you buy a $2,000 car, you spend $5,000 flying around and fixing it to get it home, to make one video, and on to the next one. Like, what a pile of work. And then really, you know, stuff is, you said, hung with, you know, baling wire and all that sort of stuff, versus this is how you do it in your home garage. That's what we're doing. We're working in our home garage on my own car, and you people are just watching for some reason.
And both have their place. It's just different styles. It's different interests. We tried to do a Will It Run with the Biscayne. We hated it.
That wasn't for me.
It was absolutely awful. It was not for us.
I like dragging stuff home, working in my own garage with my own tools, as few as there are.
Speaking of as few as they are, another common comment still, where are all your tools?
So, okay, where are all my tools?
Also, this was a comment from Murr.
Murr commented that?
Well, not on the channel, but when he was here.
So, the problem is, where are all the tools? The tools are not here.
You took the light away from you.
Oh, sorry about that. I think everything's tight here. I don't really have any issues. Oh, right, I need a metric nut for that. So, YouTube is just for funsies. I have one of them daytime jobs. Oh, I put this on wrong. I can fix that. So I'm currently traveling between two provinces. They're 14-hour drives, so I fly a lot. And man, this front end is sacked out too, eh? I think I have all the pieces for that. We can do that as well. So anyways, I was going back and forth. So a lot of the cars are still in Manitoba, which is where we're not going to be primarily. We're going to be in Alberta primarily, but so we there. And I had the idea, well, if I'm there, maybe I'll work on some stuff here and there. And that may be the case. Right now I've been full throttle with work, and I haven't had as much free time as I would have liked. But such is life. I haven't had one free time day since September 3rd, I guess it is. So it's whatever now into December. But that's kind of the way she goes, or end of November, whenever this comes out, I guess. Which is fine. So in the future though, like come spring, I'd like to be back in Manitoba a little bit, and we kept a home there, which we're renting, but we can kind of be there, and then when we are there, there'll be some cars there. So there's a whole bunch of things insurance-wise. We have to have some vehicles that are insured there, live there, some cars that are insured here, live here, and we'll do some crossover, but ultimately I need some tools there as well. And it became to the point where, what do you bring versus what do you just buy again? because I've learned that lesson having 2 garages at home, which is essentially what we have here, just the distance is further. 2 welders and 2 compressors and 2 sets of sockets and 2, everything was very frustrating. So now if I took all my stuff from those 2 garages out here, now I've split it between 3 garages, and I can't just walk next door and get it. I have to travel halfway across the country to get my stuff. So I left some stuff out there which I thought, I mean, I did bring some things out here, which, whatever, some of my metalworking tools, the press, all that sort of stuff, because I think I'm done with those things in Manitoba. It'll probably be smaller projects there, more fixing existing things, mechanical repair, you know, brakes, stuff like that. And the big fabrication stuff will happen out here because I'm going to be out here more. So out there we left some stuff like that hoist. That hoist is so freaking heavy to move. We ended up selling our Bobcat to try and MacGyver that thing into the back of a U-Haul with like an engine crane and a bunch of dudes, and then have to deal with it when I come back here. It was just ultimately not worth it. And at some point I'd like to get another Bobcat or a forklift or something out here. We have the room so we can move those big heavy things around. Same with my big compressor. I mean, I got that on sale, Princess Auto Sale. I think it was like 1,600 bucks, and that thing's been, it's awesome, but the cost to move that thing is probably half of what it's worth, versus if I just sell it there, if I don't use it, and buy another one out here, we can do that. Hand tools and stuff, I really tried not to bring a lot of hand tools, because those I just watch for Canadian Tire, Princess Auto, garage sales, swap meets, pawn shops. Stuff comes on sale, I'll just buy again. And I thought to myself, and this is when we originally moved next door in the second garage, it was just a big wide open, there's nothing there. And within 6 months it was full of stuff, full of tools, full of everything. So I figured it'd be the same thing here. 6 months from now, you won't even know that we didn't have it, because if I don't have it, I'm just gonna buy it. Or if I find a deal, I buy it. That's kind of how we're working. So there's where all the tools went. Is there anything else we need to do around here? Oh yeah, cut this off. Can I do some grinding, or you still got stupid questions for me? Or can I take a grinding break and then come back to your terrible questions?
Yes, let's do that.
Let's do that. Yeah, I know, buddy. I know it's been a rough couple of days and you're sad. I know you're out of Kleenex, it's been a lot of crying and all that stuff, but Morsky, I mean, come on, buddy. Maybe you shouldn't be hanging out with criminals and buying stolen trucks. I don't know, buddy. I mean, it's sad time. I gotta go. Edit that out, and yeah, no, I love you too. Okay, bye. Anyway, so we got under here, I managed to kind of get these shock mounts off. I just kind of ugly cut them off and then gave them a quick grind just so I'm not going to cut myself. This differential has definitely, she's been modified a few times, and I feel like we're going to have to do it again if we're having some pinion angle issues. Anywho, I think this thing's ready to go down, do some revving. What else you got?
Actually, it's convenient that you're right by the gas tank.
Oh.
Because Laryl says, I'm not much of a welder, but I'm learning a lot here. My 57 needs this exact same panel from when you were doing the trunk. But my question is it safe to weld so close to the gas tank?
Socket on there. No, I'm not going to say yes ever. So I pull a fuel tank out. It's 2 straps. That's all. I mean, I put all new stuff in, but a fuel tank on these things at Rock Auto is like 150 bucks. Put a new sender in for 70 or whatever it is while you're at it, and it's all brand new. And it's just literally 2 bolts, you drop down and it's out. And depending on how rotten it is, you might have to even repair where the straps go to, these 2 bolts there. So I've done that. I think on the Gray 55 was so rotted, I did all that. So drop the tank if you're scared. Problem solved.
Mr. Tilley says, Dan, I wanted to thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
For all of the help from the videos you post. I just replaced a rear fender on my 68 Dart. First one I've ever done. Thanks again.
Are we reading nice comments?
Well, I thought I'd give you some.
Feeling okay?
I thought I'd give you some nice ones before I got to the real hard ones.
Juicy ones?
Man, I can't believe you use Croil like that. It's very expensive. You can spray it on stick bolts sometimes immediately, or come back later and it will have spread. That can is $25 or $30.
Yeah, it was $36. I couldn't believe it.
Stop wasting it.
So I've never been a Croil man. it came with the shop here, and I was like, oh, we're just hosing. I'm like, oh, this is pretty nice. I'm at the bolt supply, and it had a big sign that says now Croyle now available. I'm like, oh, how about that? So I grabbed a few bags of bolts and some Croyle, and it was $75. I'm like, oh, bolts must have got expensive or whatever. And I'm looking at the bill after. No, it was $36 of it was Croyle. I'm like, holy moly! But it sure does smell good.
It does smell very good. Yeah. And now you're a Croyle man. Now that we're
I'm a Croyle man on payday.
under the motor, 305s make great engines for your mom's car or a boat anchor. Personally, I prefer the latter.
Well, that guy's an a-hole. So, yes, I'm not. So, I'll give you two examples of what happened here. So this car, I have spent a total of $700 on it, maybe. So we did exhaust with mufflers, fuel tank, fuel sender, fuel line, motor, transmission, a shifter. I got like a transmission cooler and some miscellaneous lines. I don't think I've spent any other money. Everything else came with the car. So the budget. The motor and transmission was $300 or whatever it was Canadian. So it's like
it's $400.
$400. So $300 US or whatever it is for a motor and trans that runs. There you have it. I was originally thinking LS or whatever it may be, but that gets expensive. I've learned my lessons now off of buying, how do I say this? I'll buy an LS motor and just be like, it is what it is, slap it in there because it's probably gonna be fine. But the way I look at a small block Chevrolet is if you buy one that's original, like they stopped building small block Chevrolets in, well, God, I mean the late 90s or maybe early 2000s when they were fuel injected, but a carbureted one was in the 80s-ish, and any sort of performance one was in the like 70s. So now you're talking about a 50-year-old motor. So odds are it's been gone through, and as I've learned, they've been gone through. You have to trust the guy that has gone through it. So buying a motor off Facebook that's known good or whatever like that, risky. You know, and John, he's only one man. He's currently building 2 motors for me, and I'm not gonna lie, it's not. I don't want to say he's not cheap because it's. I mean, the parts are. I pay the parts and I pay him labor, and I think his labor is worth every single penny of it. Unfortunately, those numbers add up, and that's just the way it goes. So when it comes to putting good motors and things, you can only afford to put a couple of those in per year because it adds up in a hurry.
You can, and you're lucky because you get it subsidized via YouTube.
Yes.
The average person is not putting in a couple of new motors a year.
Exactly. 100% right. And I mean, I put those couple of new motors in cars. So right now, we're building a motor for the 57 Chevrolet, the 2-door hardtop, which I plan on that being maybe this year. We'll see how it goes time-wise. That'll be like a power tour car, a cruising car, whatever it is. So I want that to be gone through. So he's got a guy that can do the transmission. I'm going to get a brand new rear end for it, and the motor's going to be gone through, so I'm going to have no problems with it. He's also doing the motor, which he hasn't started on yet, for the Blue Nomad. The Blue Nomad, in my mind, like nice car. You know, again, I want to put a bunch of miles on that thing, so we're spending money on both of those. Now, when it comes to this, which is ultimately going to be a daily driver, winter car, you know, toss people in the back, do whatever. The dogs will be in it. Like, who really cares? I didn't want to spend a bunch of money on a motor. Now, even when you do that, you don't spend a bunch of money on a motor. You buy a hot rod or, you know, a small block Chevy or whatever, and it's, you know, known good. Unless you're hearing it running and driving and all that sort of stuff, it's a crapshoot. And you'll be at least half, if not more. People are trying to sell small block Chevys for, like, you know, camshaft, known good, aluminum intake for, you know, $2,500. And it might be junk. And you gotta buy a transmission, which might be junk. So to be $300-400 in this, and it works, and it'll get us around, and if we fall in love with the car, we can spend money on it. 2. Here's what I'm trying to recreate with this car. I don't know if I've said it or not before. When I first moved into my house that I, you know, in Manitoba, I was 18 or whatever it was. I had no money, sold everything I owned, sold all the hot rods. I was driving my grandma's 4-door Caprice to afford the bills. And my first car I bought was that 47 Chevy. So that's been almost 20 years now. And when I got that 47 Chevy, it had a 305, turbo 350, 10-bolt rear end, and I drove the wheels off of it. And I drove it and drove it and drove it and drove it. I put most miles on that probably any car I've ever had because I was young and dumb and had no money, and that was what I wanted to do. It was a rat rod. It was ugly. It rattled. I had all sorts of fun with it until eventually it rod knocked itself because of beating the tar out of it. But for a couple of years, that's all I had, and I loved it. And it wasn't fast, it wasn't anything crazy, but I had Flowmaster mufflers on it, and I did burnouts by dumping oil in the tires and all the 18-year-old kid stuff you would do. And ultimately in my head, I'm sure even though you guys are 72 years old, you're still 18 upstairs. So that's what I'm building here. New house, same junky car. Recreating the past. I'm living the glory days. Can we rev this thing up yet?
That was really nice.
Was it?
I liked what you just said. Oh, now I don't want to read the next comment that I was gonna.
Dan, you're a hack. Yeah,
Well, yeah, sorry, but the hackery of what you did is like you're making a show, not a craftsman builder. You ruined your show for me. And I followed you guys for a while. I think your family would be ashamed. Just a hack, no craftsmanship.
What video is this on?
The trunk pan, I believe.
The trunk pan was done nice. That guy's a friggin' idiot. Well, come on. I mean, what do you want? It's a 4-door car that was a few $1,000s.
That nobody was buying.
I had to buy a trunk pan for it as well. Oh, I guess replace what I had. Come on, girl. We need a different breaker.
Maybe one day.
Well, that guy's either A, full of shit, or has no idea what he's talking about, or he's just being a troll, because I don't care who you are, the trunk pan repair was a factory pan butt welded in. That's how you fix that. Could have I spent more time on it, I guess, and made it more perfect? Sure, but I don't know. I think it's fine the way it is.
I agree. Also, my favorite part is he says, you're making this like it's a show, and then he goes, I used to love watching your show. Like he was mad that you were making it a show, but likes the show, or liked it.
So quit doing a show, but make it a better show.
Yes.
Okay, I'll work on the show, sir. What's his name?
Broken Back Unlimited.
Sounds like he's a smart individual.
Okay, I have one more for you before the camera dies here.
Yes.
You had my attention the whole way through this show, as always. I enjoy watching you bring these old cars back to life so they can live on. Hopefully a few generations. I do not think you do butchery like you often say. You're too hard on yourself. You and Danielle are genuine, not afraid to admit when you're wrong, and you do it in an entertaining way. Now, all that said, I'm curious to know if you ever plan to do what Pudding has done and Sleeper Dude and leave your job and make YouTube your full-time job. I think you have what it takes to do it. Anyway, great show. Can't wait to see more of the Tri-5 revivals. That was from Barry.
I love my job. I've had the same job since I was 18, hair modeling. Anyway, I love it. Or I was 16 actually, I should say, but I'm gonna do it forever till the day I die. And that's the end of it. So as long as I can, this is not priority, this is just funsies. This is Danny's job now. She does all the editing and stuff like that, took a lot off my plate, which is great. And she takes the money from it and kind of makes a few bucks, and we spend the rest on the car, so we're very privileged in that. But honestly, we do YouTube now for, I guess, like I said, the fun, like, to have 3 Tri-5s in the garage instead of 1. That's what YouTube has provided for us. And it's now her job, so she can work from home, be with the dogs, and do whatever the hell she wants. So that's awesome. So thank you very much for that. And ultimately being able to build the 2 motors per year, which we wouldn't be able to afford otherwise. And then when we go out to shows and stuff like that, we've met all sorts of cool people, and people want to help us out, and all those benefits. So it's more just for funsies, and we enjoy doing it. I don't think I would ever do it full time, just because I like the 9 to 5, and realistically, we still managed to pull it off. We put out a lot of videos, so all those guys that are, I can barely put it out as a YouTuber, Morsky, It's not that hard. YouTube's easy.
Also,
Anyways.
thanks for saying such nice things, Barry.
Yeah, thanks, Barry. Mortsky, get it. He's crying. But I know your mom won't answer anymore. It's embarrassing. I'm going to stop answering too. Buddy, you were driving a truck without paperwork, without license plates. You were hanging with a tattooed criminal for a whole week. What do you want me to say? You were a bad man. Okay, I'll talk to you later. Anyways, thank you very much for watching. As always, we appreciate every single one of you, except for whatever that guy was who didn't like the show. He can frig off. And we'll see you on the next one. We have to go run out and get some brake hardware, get that all taken care of, and we'll come right back on the next video, get the brakes going, a few little odds and ends, and I'd like to drive this thing out of the shop. Catch you on the next one.